Good afternoon, children. This is Krishna from Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Pondicherry. I am here to deal a topic, array, related to informatic practices. And I hope after dealing this topic, you will get maximum marks in this topic, not in this topic, in subject itself. In this topic array, we will cover so many things like what is array, what are the types of array like a 1D array, 2D array, 3D array. As our syllabus, we are having 1D array and 2D array. We will learn the applications of array like a covariance, variance, correlation, linear regression. We will learn how to create array, how to split array, how to join the array, and many more things we will learn in this topic. I hope after my lecture, you will feel that I have covered all the things as I have tried to cover last time all the things. If time permit, definitely we will cover all the things. So we'll start with PowerPoint presentation. So first thing, what is array? Array in general refer to a named group of homogeneous element. So there is a definitely question, what is homogeneous? For that, I'm having a small example, and that example will explain you what is homogeneous. There are two types of data set. One is homogeneous, another one is heterogeneous. Yeah, let us see. There is some examples I am having. You can better understand what is homogeneous and what is heterogeneous. You can understand whether this is array or list or tuple or dictionary or any other type of data. So you can see in this example, I am having the example number 1 where the data is only string value. Second example, the data is only whole number value. Third example, the data is only decimal value. This is called as a homogeneous data, which is a array. Second, which we learned in last class, which is called as a heterogeneous data, where we are having a mixed type of data. You can see in this example, we are having ABC, same time we are having 1, 2, 3 and comma 5, 6. So this is the combination of string data as well as number data. In next example, you can see we are having the again mixed data, float data and number data. And third example, you can see we are having float data, number data, same time string data enclosed in double inverted comma. So I hope you understood. If there is any example, if there is a similar values are available, then you can say that is a homogeneous value and this is an example of array. So you can see all the elements are same type. These comma separated values are elements. And here we are having mixed data. So this is clear to everybody. This is called as a array. But there is a definitely question in your mind list also. Sometimes we are creating data with different values. Sometimes we are putting same value. But again, there is a next topic where you can understand the difference between array and list, because so many mathematical operation can be applied on array, but it cannot be applied on list. So I think this is clear to everybody. Homogeneous and heterogeneous. Right. Let us continue. Now let us learn the concept of array. The important term which you have to understand, that is called as a concept of array. This is two things are there to understand the concept of array. One thing is called as the element, another thing is called as the index. You know very well, each item which is stored in list, in tuple, in dictionary, all are called as a element. Okay, and how they stored, each elements are stored indexed. You learned it last time. Index, starting index will be 0, next will be 1, next will be 2, and it will go so on. So you can see element, each item stored in array is called as an element. Each location of an element is an array has a numerical index which is used to identify the element called as a index. See, how it is representation, how it is represented in front of you. You can see I am having a data, same type of data. You can see 35, 33, all are numerical values only. These 35, 33, 42, 10, these all are called as elements, and 35 index is having 0th index. 33 is having first index. 42 is having second index. The total size of data is 10. You can see this is called as a element upper side, and what index I have given by default it is there. It is called as a index. So I think the concept of array is clear to all of you. This is element and this is index. Now, when already we are having so many data types, so many libraries, so many modules are there, then why we are following the array? What is the use to take array in the real life programming? So many things you cannot do with the help of tuple, with the help of list, with the help of dictionary. That thing you can do with the help of array. Pandas, as you know, we are learning Python. Pandas, some functions will return the result in NumPy array. That's why we are following the array. The result will be in array. That's why we are following the array. So we have to understand why the result is coming in array and what is array. It helps to learn and manage Pandas data structure. We will have a next session on 17. On that day, we will learn the data structure. Okay. Mathematical and logical operation possible on array. Yes. This thing you have to remember. So many mathematical functions and logical functions are there that you can apply on array to get the accurate result, which is not possible with list. We will see in next examples. Shape and size can be manipulated. It is possible for array, the shape and size can be manipulated. Now, to learn the array, we have to understand the NumPy array. Okay, numerical Python. The NumPy is full form is numerical Python. To understand array in my session, I will follow the Jupyter notebook. You can use Spider, you can use IDLE. Okay, so we are using here Jupyter notebook. It is available with Anaconda. You can download it. It is freely available over the internet. You can use it. It is very fast and quick also. And result will be displayed on the same screen. No need to run again and again. By pressing the shift and enter button, you can run the line and you will get it your result. One more thing we will learn, we will use NumPy library to learn the array. To use the NumPy library, we have to import the NumPy library. For that, we will write a line, import NumPy as NP. When we will start our Jupyter notebook, we will have a session on that also, and we will start our IDLE and we will type the first line, import NumPy as NP. You can see NumPy is a module, or you can say this is a library, and we have given a new name to this library. This new name is not compulsory. If you want, you give. If you don't want, not compulsory. But better you give new name. It can be anything. It's your name, my name, whatever meaningful you can give. If you will not give, then you have to use NumPy. Otherwise, you can use NP. So this is the variable. Okay, and let's see an example to understand this thing. Yeah, right. Let us understand an example. I'm going to start Jupyter notebook. It is available with Anaconda. It takes a little time, not much time. It is fast. It will run on local host, on internet web page. It will run. So you can see now we have started our Jupyter notebook. We are on local host. Now we will click on the new. As you remember, we will start the Python. Now the Python is ready, and the first line what we have to type, that is import NumPy as NP. Yeah, this is the place where we have to type import numpy as NP. Please try to understand this. NP is a variable name given by me. You can give anything, but the same thing you have to use here, right? Same time when we will learn in next class pandas, we can use import pandas as PD or import pandas as what variable you want to give, that variable name you can put it here. Again, one more example I have given, import numpy as NIOS. So you can see NIOS is just an example and a variable. One more thing you have to be remember, the numpy will always come in a small letter. You cannot use it in a capital letter. To move to the next line, you have to press Shift plus Enter to run the line. So this is the error we are getting. No module name numpy. There is no library in Python called as a capital NUMPY or capital NUMPY. So please be careful while using the numpy. You must have to type in a small letter. All right. Come back to the. Now, let us learn how to create array. So I think you understood what is array, what is homogeneous, heterogeneous. You understood concept of array, element, index. You understood the last what we have learned, how to import the numerical Python to learn the array using Jupyter Notebook. Now we will learn how to create array. In this session, we will learn in 2-3 slides, we will learn how to create array using np.array using numpy.array. Okay. In some other slides, we will learn using different methods. Different functions are available to create the array. But the basic thing, how to create the simple array, we will learn with the help of these things. So have one more example. Right. So this is the example I have written import numpy as NP, right? This is my example. NP.array. Please try to understand. I am going to use here NP, what I have declared a variable name. Are you able to see this one? Right. Now we have opened a bracket and we have created a 1D array. This is an example of single dimension array because it is having only 1 row and 3 columns. Right? When the moment you will put the variable name, you will get it array. Now let us see example number 2. NumPy, we are going to use NumPy as we have declared NP, so we cannot use NumPy. It will show you error. See. Right, you are getting error because no NumPy is not defined. You have to define here NumPy or you have to remove it as NP. Now you can see we will not get any error. Okay, right. See the example. Run the command. Yeah, see. Okay, run. Now you got it. There is no error. So you can create an array using np.array or your variable name .array, or you can create directly with the help of NumPy. Now you can see one more example I am going to give here where import NumPy as NIOS. This is an variable name. User define, my define, your define, whoever will can define this one. And I have given the another example. Okay. Now you can see the value I have entered. Here I have not given NIOS.array. This is an example of a list. Please try to understand. This is not an array. If it is array, it will display array. All right. Let us make it correct. A small change we have to make it here. Right. Again, this is an example of list only. All right. Now you see this is the variable name NIOS.array. Now you can see I have created an array. One more thing, the array is a homogeneous collection of data. Now you can see this is 12.2. This is Krishan inverted comma string value 56.8 float value. But you can see when I created array, all the value become string value. This is not a 56.8 float value. This is an string value enclosed in single inverted comma. You can see the D type is U32, right? So this is the thing which you can understand how to create an array using numpy dot array using np dot array. All right. When we will create an array, there is a lot of mathematical operators are there. Mathematical operator, arithmetic operator, plus, minus, multiply and divide, module. Some more operators are there that you can apply with the help of the array. Now you see, you could perform mathematical operation like addition, subtraction, division and multiplication on an array, right? The syntax, the array name will come followed by any operator. Any operator can be followed with the help of with the name of array. Now have an example to understand how it is possible. Right, again we are here on Jupyter Notebook. This is example. I'm going to create an array using variable name NIOS. It can be anything. I have created an array with the help of integer values. Now you can see this is example number 1. I am going to apply a mathematical operation plus. All right. Okay. So that variable name is not correctly I have typed now. Right. You can see 50 plus 2, 52, 100 plus 2, 102. Is it clear to everybody? This is the thing which is possible only with array. But last class you have learned that it is possible with the help of list also. The plus operator and the multiplication operator both will work with list. But you know very well what type of result will come. When you use plus operator, it will concate. When you use multiplication operator, it will multiply the number of times the list. The data of list will be multiplied at the number of time. So I think this is clear how to use mathematical operator in array. Right, now we will learn what are the types of array in Python. There are two types of array. In Big there are two types of array. 1D array, which is called as a vector, and they are having only single row and columns. Columns may be multiple columns will be there. A single column also can be there. Multiple columns also can be there, but they must have a single row. They called as a 1D array. Same time, there are a multi-dimensional array which is called as a matrix. Matrix can have multiple row and column. Multiple row and column. Table, you know very well. You have created table at many times. You know very well about Excel. You have learned in junior classes. Many times whenever you have to represent the data, you must have to follow the table. Table or data will be a good collection of data. Meaningful data. So you know that each and every row and each and every column they called as a 2D array, they called as a 3D array. So these are the 2D array and 3D array are the example of multi-dimensional array. Now let us learn anatomy of NumPy array. An array can be 1D, then only have a one row. In 1D array, there is only one axis. Are you able to see? This is an example of one-dimensional array. A single row and 3 columns. This is axis 0. This is an example of 2D array. Are you able to see? This is row number 1. This is row number 2. This is row number 3. Multiple rows are there and multiple columns are there. This side it is called as a axis 0. This side it is called as a axis 1. This is called as a 2D array. 1D array and 2D array. Same time, there is an 3D array. 3D array, multi-dimensional array example where x is 0, x is 1 and x is 2 will be there. They called as a 3D array. Don't worry, we are having an example so you can understand 1D array, 2D array, 3D array or any other dimensional array, 4D array, that also can be, you understand, right? Let us see. Now, this is an example to understand the 2D array. Why I am not going to explain the 1D array, because the previous video you have watched, there I have created the array and that are single line array. That's why they are one dimensional array. So you know very well one dimensional array. This is an example of 2-dimension array. You can add a dimension with a comma, with a comma. Are you able to see? Yes. And they must enclose in the square bracket, within the square bracket. This is an example of 2-dimensional array. See variable np.array. This is 1. This is second. This is row number 1. This is row number 2. That's why it is called as a 2-dimensional array. When the moment you will print the shape, you can see this is the number of row. This is the number of column. The 2 is the number of row. Okay, 3 is the number of column. 1, 2, 3. This will come in downside 1, 2, 3. So I think you understood what is array. Let us have an example. 2D array example. So first, the same thing, same example we will take. Right? The first line is called as a comment line, as you know very well, with the help of 3 hash. Okay. Inside the square bracket, we have to put the value inside the square bracket. When we want to add one more dimension, we have to put a comma here. We have to add one more square bracket and we have to close one more square bracket. After the comma, we can put one more dimension. So see, one dimension is over. Another dimension we have added with the help of comma. Now we are getting the dimension. If you want to see the dimension, you can type a command variable name dot ndim. Right, this will be displaying you the dimension of your array. This is number of column. This is number of row. Clear? Chaliye. Now let us learn 3-dimension array. Last time also I explained you everything must be enclosed in square bracket. But you see, we have square bracket and we have closed the square bracket here. 1 dimension. This is 2 dimension. Apart from 2 dimension, we have added one more dimension. That's why it is called as a 3-dimensional array. A very simple example. Comment section, variable, the data is there for 1 dimension. The data is there for 2nd dimension, comma separated, 2nd dimension is separated with a comma. You can see these 2 brackets and 2 brackets and here. Okay, the last bracket is available still here. So this is, we have added one more dimension. That's why this is called as a 3-dimension array. Number of rows are 2, number of columns are 2 they are displaying, and number of dimension is 3. So this is the concept of 1D array, 2D array and 3D array. Is it clear? See this picture to try to understand. Right? This is 1 dimension. When we will close this square bracket, this will become a 2 dimension. But after a square bracket, we have added a comma and one more dimension we have created. So it is called as a 3-dimensional data array. Right. Now we will learn an attribute of array called as a shape to find number of column and number of rows. It tells the number of element along each axis of it. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number of columns are 6. Number of rows are 1 and 2. When the moment you will give shape command, this is the variable name, array list is a variable name, I'm getting the result 2 number of rows and 6 number of columns are available. If you want to find the data type of your array, you can give D type attribute. It tell about the type of data stored in ND array. You can see this is the integer type of data because there is no decimal and no string type of value. So you have to give the variable name dot D type and you will get it your result. You will get it your data type. What type of data is there? By default, it is int32. If float values are float 64. Now this is the float value. Decimal values are there. Float 64 will be there. You can change the data type as you have learned in previous sessions. You can change the data type. All right. Now we will learn item size. Size of each element of an ND array in bytes. Please try to understand. In next image you will understand the each element of an ND array in bytes. Bit, bytes. Do you remember last classes? Bit, byte, KB, GB, MB, TB, whatever. So this thing you have to remember. Bytes means 8 bytes. Okay, it is always as per the data type. If data type is integer 16, then the item size will be 2 byte. Okay, 8 byte, 16 means 2 bytes will come. Okay, 2 bytes is equal to 16 byte because in many time in exam you will get a question. See this type of question you will get it. AR dot item size and this is the data. What is the result will appear? So you can say the result will be this type of result will come. Right? How it is coming? You can see by default data type is integer 32 bit integer, right? Then the size will be 4. 8 multiplied by 4, 32. Okay, 8 bit, 1 byte, 32 bit, 4 bytes. So this thing you have to remember. There may be a 1 mark question in exam. The simple question may come in exam. Yeah, can you tell me what if the data type is float 64? What will be the answer will come? Yes, the answer will be 8 will come. Okay. Right, next. Now we will compare the NumPy array as list. I told you now there is a difference between array and list. Why we are not using list when there are mixed data can be used in list? Why we are following the array? So that we will learn. Once the array created, cannot change its size. Overwriting is possible for existing array. They must contain same type of value or element, same type of data value. They must have to contain. They support vectorized operation, apply function. It perform on each item, but it is not possible with a list. Now I will give you an example. Let me start the Jupyter notebook so I can explain you that what is the difference between NumPy array and list. We will create an array. Same time we will create an list. We will apply vectorized operation. We will see how the array is differ from a list. Let it start. Yeah, started. Now we are on localhost. Now we are ready. Yeah, so first thing we have to import. Let the typing area come. Yeah, we are ready. Import NumPy. As I told you, anything can be given. Anything can be given. To run this line, we have to press Shift plus Enter. So first example, let me take with a list. A is equal to, this is an example of list. Variable name will give some meaningful variable name for you can understand. 12, 15, 16 and A list. This is a list. Now vectorize operation. Let us see a list multiply by 5. What answer will come? 12 multiplied by 5, 15 multiplied by 5, 16 multiplied by 5. No, we learned in last class itself. The list will be simply multiply, simply make a copy 5 times. So here vectorized operations are not applicable. Same time, let us have an example of array. Let us have an example of array. Array. Okay. Let us take same value 12, 15, 16 and yeah, what we forget? Yes, here we have to write anything, which is a variable name, anything dot array. Don't miss it, right? Because this is only the difference between list and array, where list can be simply created and array we have to put variable name or we have to put numpy itself and we have to use array. Now let us print the array. Yeah, this is an array. Let us apply. Okay, vectorize operation. Let us apply multiplication by 5. So you can see we are getting the exact result what we want. So I think it is clear to everybody. You can easily apply vectorize operation on array and it is not possible with list. Okay, again, suppose there is a list. Okay, if you want to add +2, right? What? You will get an error. You are getting an error, but it is not with array. You can add it 2. Now you can see the value get added. Are able to see 12, 15, 16 added to 17, 14, 17 and 18. So I think it is clear to everybody. There are a lot of queries are there regarding this in my class itself. So many children ask what is the difference between list and array. So this is the simple example which you can give in exam. You can write it in exam that this is the difference between a simple array and a list. Right? Surely. Come back to the slide again. Now there is a question how to access the array. The array can be accessed with the help of variable name and with the help of index. Do you remember the previous slides? How it is indexed? Index number 0 will be the first element. So on. The remaining will be so on. So this is the variable array list. Index number I have given 3 and there will be some value on index number 3 and I got a result. Now you can see index number 0, index number 1, index number 2, index number 3. I'm getting result 4. The slicing is also possible. Slicing, do you remember slicing? In last class we learned? Right. Slicing means the starting point will be there, the end point will be there. This is called as a lower limit. This is called as a upper limit and upper limit will be always ignored as per the Python programming. Now you can see 0th position 1 will come, 1 position 2 will come, 2 position 3 will come, 3 position 4 will come, but 4th position will be ignored. So result is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the very simple way to access array. Now, last time I told you that we will learn apart from an numpy.array and np.array, there are so many methods are available to create array. We will learn here using array. See the example list is equal to 1, 2. This is a list, right? When you will type the same thing, if you are getting an error, please change the variable name. That's why I have changed the variable name LSIT. Don't write it LIST. It will show some error because it may be a reserved character. So you will get it definitely error. Capital letter, small letter. Yeah, case sensitivity is there. So I have created a variable array list for array np.array and I have created the array for the following list. This is a useful for creating array from existing list and tuple. You see, I am always using list. You can use tuple also. You can use dictionary also. But if you use dictionary, you will get some some problem we will get it. We will see in next slide itself. If you pass other sequence like a dictionary, it will create array. It will create array. There is no doubt it can create array with the help of any sequence. No issue. Number sequence, known number sequence, no problem. But while accessing, you may get some error. So if you pass other sequence like a dictionary, it will create array, but the way you access it, it will show you the error. Now you can see I have imported import numpy as np variable name. This is a dictionary and np.array. For this dictionary variable, I have created array. Now this is an array. When you will print it, it will show array. Yeah, array is ready. No issue. But when the time you want to access the array, you will get an error. You see, I am going to access the index number 0 and we are getting error. Too many index for array. So this is the thing. So we are following the tuple. We are following the list while creating the array. Now we will learn how to create the array with the help of from ITR function. It is used to create array from any sequence like a numeric sequence, string sequence and dictionary, etc. It is very useful when you want to create array from non-numeric sequence. What is the non-numeric sequence? Any string value. Suppose in double inverted comma, I have written Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya. Now I want to create an array for each and every element. This is called as a non-numeric sequence. So this is the basic structure for the from ITR function. np.fromITR. Any sequence can be given here or adding with a data type. Let us see a very simple example. I have created a dictionary. I am using the from ITR dictionary. I have given data type. I have given int 32. So it will take this integer value. This integer value has taken array got created. Last example. Check out the last example. We created array, right? Without from ITR, without d type. No, we are getting all the dictionary value. But here it is not like that. You are not getting all the dictionary value. You are getting data type. This value only you are getting. And it can be accessible with the help of index. Is it clear to everybody? From ITR function, it's very easy to create a array from non-numeric value. This is key. This is value for a dictionary, always enclosed in curly brackets, right? Okay. Creating array for individual letter. Many times just now I asked you Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, it is a string, how to create an array. So we will use from ITR, the same thing. We will give the variable name, we will give data type. Okay, and we will print it. You can see the array got created. All are string value separated by comma. So this is the from ITR is a very helpful way to create the array from a non-numeric sequence. Please remember np.array, no, np.fromITR, any sequence and the data type. No array, right? In last all other example, we have given np.array. Okay, np.array we have given, but in this example, we have not given np.array because we are learning about from ITR way. So we have used np.fromITR. This is apart from np.array. All right. This is a function which can be used with from ITR. Okay. Let us see the from ITR function can also support one more argument, which is called as a count. You can put a limit on how many elements from a iterable are to be picked for ND array. Don't be confused. See, I have given A, B, C, D, E, F, but I don't want D, E, F. I want only 1, 2, 3, 4 count values only I want. In such type of situation, you can use count argument. Okay, let us have an example. This is an example from ITR. I have given the variable name here. Data type I have given count is equal to 2. Only 2 elements. I want to create the array for only 2 elements. This thing you have to always remember. This is the count. We are not creating all the all the array we are not creating. We are creating only for a limited. Is it clear? One more thing you have to remember, do not give the count more than the value. If you give more than value, it will show iterator too short, because we need at least 10 value or more than 10 value, not less than 10 value. You can give less, you can give no issue, but you cannot give more than value. Here I have given less. You can see I am having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 number of string characters are there, but I have created for 6. Yeah, now a small quiz. If you want, you can write it. We have to create 3 elements from this dictionary. Okay, and we have to create ND array, right? Count 3. We have to take count 3. Okay, you can have a photo. You do it later and check it your answer. This is the way. Our dictionary is there. First we have to create the dictionary. Then I have given the from ITR variable name, data type I have given, count I have given 3. What I am asking here, 3 elements are taken. So counts are given 3. Now you can see 1, 2 and 3 has taken, remaining all are ignored. Array got created. Now this is also another way to create an array using a range. We can create array with the help of numerical range, a range. It is similar like a range. Do you remember range? Can be used with list. Okay, the a range can be used with array. Range can be used with the list. See, visible np.a range 7 I have given. Upper limit is 7. So you can see the array got created 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Upper limit got ignored. Okay, this is I have given starting point, I have given upper limit, I have given step. Remember steps? Yes, it will simply jump 2 digit and come to the next one. From 1 to 2 time jump, 3 will come, again 2 time jump, 5 will come, again 2 time jump, 7 will come, 7 will be ignored. Answer will be there in front of you. Yes, I think you understood. There is no issue. You can use a range with jump or step to create an array. Another example, right? This is a float, integer value, created integer, float, created float. Again, one more way to create an array, which is a linspace. In this linspace, you can put a space between 2 given limits. Please remember here the upper limit and lower limit both will be taken, and the linspace which is given, like here in this example you can see 6 is a linspace is given. Means we have to generate the 6 element in between 2 and 3, not in between 2 and 3. We have to take 2, we have to take 3 also, and totally we need 6 elements. See, the result is coming 2, 2.2 element number 2, 2.4 element number 3, 2.6 element number next, 2.8 element number next, and 3 element number last, which is already there in the question itself. 2 starting point, 3 end point. Here you have to remember it is not like a another way. It's not like this. It's not like a range. Okay, please try to understand. In a range, the upper limit will be ignored, but here in linspace, the upper limit will not ignore. It will be included in an answer itself, and it will be divide the value into a particular linspace limit. Example number next. Create an ND array with 6 value falling in range 2.525. Starting 2.5 will come. This is first value, and 5 will come. This is last value. In between only we have to find the value. So 2.5, 3 will come, 3.5, 4 will come, 4.5 and 5 will come. So this is the way to create array in Python programming. Now, for 1D array slicing is very easy. It is very easy to learn 1D array slicing. Now we have to learn how to slice 2D array. This image is the most important for you to understand how to slice the 2D array. See, array, we have a row slicing first, then we have to column slicing. In 1D array, okay, there will be a different way, but in 2D array, this is the different way. Row will be sliced separately and column will be sliced separately. This may be a 2-mark question in your exam. Okay, now I will show you. This is the start point, colon, stop point, colon, any step if you want to give, comma will come. Here this will calculate for only row. This will calculate for columns. Start point, stop point, and step point. Let us see with an example. This is a very big example, right? You can see I am having row index. How many rows are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Index will be 0 to 7. Same time, how many columns are there? You can see I am having 5 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it clear? Right. Now, what type of question will come in exam, that we have to see. For example, this is the question. They will give you this question. We have created, this is the array we have created. Then they have given 3, 3. Do you understood this thing? Starting point is not there, means we have to start from index number 0. End point is there, we have to ignore it. Okay, before that only we have to display the result. Comma, for row also they have given the starting point will be 3 and end point will be no end point. So we have to take till last value. Is it clear to everybody? We are getting result 3, 4, 8, 9, 13, 14. How? Don't be confused. See this image. So first we have to remember the column का index number 0, column का index number 1, column का index number 2, column का index number 3. What we are asking? We are asking column index number 3. Is it clear? 3, right? 3 to last. 3 to last. There is only last value 3 and 4th. Now talking about row, index number they are telling about 0 to till 3. So index number 0 will come, 1 will come, 2 will come, 3 will not come. Okay, so the answer will come 3, 4, 8, 9 and 13, 14. This is the answer. So this image will explain you the upper limit will be ignored as per the slicing rule. So it start with the 0th row and it will end with the second number of row. Is it clear? See the image carefully. As starting point is not there, we have to take 0. End point is there, we have to ignore the end point. Before that point we have to take. For rows, column also the same thing is there. Starting point they are given, end point they have not given. So there is no issue. Is it clear? Right. So this is for row. So you will get this type of result. Okay, let us have a question. This is the question. For example, we are having a array and we are having a slicing, 2D slicing. Starting point will be 2 for row, end point will be 3. It will ignore, third will be ignored. Only the second point will be there. Only the second point will be there. Then column also the starting point will be 3 and upper limit will be all the elements. Okay. So you will get answer 13 and 14. Same. Right. I think you have calculated the same answer will come 13 and 14. Check out 0th row, first row, second row. This is the second row. Upper limit will be ignored. Okay. Element number third 0, 1, 2, 3 third. So answer will come 13 and 14 only. No other values. Okay. Now, so I think this is clear to everyone. This session is clear to everyone. There is no such doubt. If you have doubt, you can ask, as the number mobile number is highlighted under the screen. Okay, at the down side of the screen, you can ask any kind of question. Do you have any question? You can type and you can send it. Right. Now we will learn how to join the NumPy array. we can join two or more than two array together with the help of H stack, which is used to join horizontally, V stack, which is used to join vertically, and concatenate will join the array based on their access, either 0 or 1. Any access can be given for concatenate, right? Let us see first the horizontally joining of the array. This is an example, sorry, vertical joining of the array. We are having array value, second array value. We have given how to use np.vstack. We have to use like that. We will give array 1, array 2 inside the bracket, and a final bracket also you must have to follow. Now you can see 0, 1, 2 vertically we are going to join vertically. We are going to join vertically. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 16, 17, 18. So it is got joined vertically. Now this is an example of horizontal, right? It has taken first value. Visible? This is called as a horizontal joining of an array using H stack. Again, it has taken 3, 4, 5 and 13, 14, 15. Okay, this is number 1 row, this is number 2 row, this is number 3 row, and last value 6, 7, 8 and 16, 17 and 18. So this is the difference between the joining of NumPy array. Vertically joining means the entire first array will be come as it is and second array will come as it is and they will join. But when the moment of horizontal joining will be there, the first element of first array and the first element of second array will join together. This, please try to understand this thing. Second element of the first array and second element of the second array will join together. This is the there in front of you. Yes, right. Now we will learn concatenate, how to concate, how to connect two array. The shape must be same when you want to join the array, otherwise you will get error. Okay. One more thing you have to remember, you have to define the axis. If the axis is 0, then the shape of array being joined must match with the column dimension. The column and another array column must match. Okay. If the axis is 1, then it will be joined based on row. First array rows and second array rows dimension must be match. Then it will join the array. But in H stack and V stack, there is a simple way. We are not following any axis, but here we are following the axis. So some examples are there for understanding purpose. See, right? They will join only if the shapes are matching, right? We have joined this 3, 4, 1, 6, 8, 5, 2, 1, 3. We have joined it column wise. Okay, they are matching column wise. How many columns are there? For array 1, 3 columns are there. For array 2 also 3 columns are there. So they have matched, they got joined. If there is mismatch, you will get error or you will get none value. Some other result will come. Okay, so this is the rule. We must have to see the shape. Okay, see, this is an example. 3 row and 3 column we are having. Okay, and second example also the same thing. Columns are same, but row are different. How many rows are there? Only 2 rows. So when you will join axis 0 wise, okay, do you remember axis 0 wise? If the axis 0, column dimension will be checked. How many columns are there? 1, 2, 3. There also 1, 2, 3. Visible to everybody. 3, 6, 2, 4, 8, 1, 1, 5, 3. Yeah. Number of column 1, number of column 2, number of column 3, number of column 1, number of column 2 and number of column 3 match, no issue, but number of rows will not match. So we are getting result. They have concate 3 4 1 6 8 5 2 1 3 and 2 4 2 and 1 9 1. Is it clear to everybody? Very simple. This rule, please keep it in your mind. This rule, if the axis is 0, then the shape of array being joined must match on column dimension. The column has to be matched. 3 column, 3 column, 4 column, 4 column in both array. If we are talking about axis 1, the shape of array being joined must match on row dimension. Row dimension. How many number of rows are there? 5. There also we need 5 rows. Is it clear? Right. This is an example. Axis 1 we are going to join all the input of array dimension except for the concurrent axis must match exactly. So I think it is clear to everybody. This is very simple way to concate the array with following this rule. If it is 0 axis, then we have to understand that the column has to be matched. If it is 1, the row has to be matched. Otherwise, we will get an error. Just now there is an error you saw. Now this is the quiz. Number of rows are 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2. So it is not possible on number of rows. Okay, you will get an error. If the axis is 1 given for concatenate, you will get an error. But it is possible for a column. 3 column, again 3 column. When you will join axis 0, no issue, all will join, get result. Okay, now I have given array 2 comma array 1. First I have given array 2, then I have given array 1. So array 2 will come first. Axis will be 0, no issue, they will join together. They will join together. Is it clear? Okay. Number of rows are 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. But number of columns are here 2 and here only 1 column. So in that situation, if you put 0 access, error will come. If you put access 1, 0 access will be not possible. For access 1, it is possible. So you can see access 1 got added. Okay, if you give access 0, it will show you the error, right? So these are also some of the example using a range, reshape. Okay, and this is the thing we have added based on row and column size. If they match, they will add, otherwise you will get an error. So I think this is clear to everybody. Just now we learned joining NumPy array. We can join 2 or more than 2 array together using hstake, vstake and concatenate. The concatenate, we have to be very much careful. If it is 0, column dimension must match. If it is 1, row dimension must match. Now we have joined. Now we have to split. Split means divide. This function will divide the array into sub-array. Array, sub-array. Along a specified axis. The array of NumPy can be split horizontally, can be split vertically. We can use 3 functions: horizontally, vertically, and split. Let us have an example. Here I join this array. These all are the array 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 row. This is entirely 1 row. This is entirely second row. Okay, when the moment you will split this, see np.hsplit array comma 3 in 3 separate sub array or subgroup, they will divide. So horizontally they will divide like this: 0, 1, 6, 7, 12, 13, 18, 19. One more thing, this you have given Okay, if you give 4, if you give 5, right, they will check it whether it is possible to divide into 4. Okay, how you will divide into 4? You can divide into 2. 3 will come, the remaining 3 will come. It is possible to divide into 2. It is possible to divide into 3 also. How you will divide in 4? You cannot divide in 4. Okay, you will get an error. So this is the way to split the array into horizontally. The same time you can split the array into vertically also. I have given 6. Yes, it is possible into 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 5 also not possible, 4 also not possible. So this thing we have to remember. If in exam these type of questions will come, array given to you and they are asking to split it, please check it whether it is possible to split into the given criteria. If it is not possible, error will come. Okay, same thing is there for vertical split. I have split it vertically. You can see how many number of 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, 4 row. So I have split it 4 times. I am getting. Are you able to see the difference? Here entire array enclosed in a square bracket and bracket. Here this is array number 1 splitted. This is array number 2 splitted. This is array number 3 splitted. Array number 4 splitted. So this is called as a vertically splitting array using V split. Now this is the split. You can use the split where you have to put the axis if you want. Axis 0 means we have to split in horizontally, okay, on vertically axis. So this is the thing. This is the data array we are having. We have splitted array 1, 3. You see, okay, 2 and 3 because we are having 3 rows, so it got splitted. Is it clear? Right. So this is the thing. This is the explanation of this split function. If the axis is given, how it will split. Right. Number of rows are there. Number of columns are there. Okay. Based on this, this will be split. So there may be a question in exam. Some this type of question you will get in exam. Some array they will give you and they will ask you to split the array 1, 3 axis 1 they have given. So how it will be split? It will come first. Okay, 1, 3 starting position and position. See, 0 to 1 will be a one group of array visible to everybody. Then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 you see. Okay, 1, 2, 5, 6 and 9, 10. This is the second group of array and this is the last group of array. Visible 3, 7 and 11. Right. So this is the quiz. You have to split the array 2, 5. Starting index will be 2 up to 4 we have to go. Axis they have given 1. Right. Here also we have given 1. So when you will do this one, first 0 to 2 it will go. Okay. Then 2 to 5 it will go. Then the 5 it will go. You will see 0 to 2. This will be a one group of array. Then 0 to 1 because upper limit will be ignored. Then 2 to 4. Okay, one group of array will be there. One array, array number 1, array number 2, and this is the last split of the array, array number 3. Axis is 1, so it will split vertically on horizontal. You will get a result when you will do this thing. Now we will learn about the extracting. Extracting, it is a condition based on non-contiguous subset. the specified condition will be applied on each element of array. Each element of array, it can be possible with the help of extract function. Let us see, it's very easy to understand extract function. We have to use numpy or np.extract. We have to give the condition, we have to give the array. For example, this is an array. I have given the condition, okay, np.mod mode. Okay, the value of array mode by 5. If equal to 0, it will display true. Otherwise, it will display false. Okay. Now, how many values are? Again, one more example. We have divided. Is it clear? In this example, we have given the modulation. Modulation means reminder. Array value divided by 5. What reminder will come? Suppose 0 will come. If equal to 0, then true will come. Otherwise, false will come. Here also it is coming true. Okay. So wherever it will be possible, we will get true answer. Right. Now how to use the extract? Is it clear to everybody how to put the condition? Okay. Condition variable. Okay. np dot any condition. Array variable. Okay. One condition I have given. This is another condition, divide. What we have to divide? Array value by 5. If it is equal to 1, 1, wherever you can see it is coming 5 divided by 5, 1 will come. We'll get it true here. Remaining will be false. No chance to equal 1. So this is the condition. How to extract this result? Then finally, after doing this exercise, applying condition, we have to write it np.extract. We have to put a condition on array, right? We'll get our result 5. Okay, this is the value. On this value only this divide is possible when equal come 1. Clear? Suppose if I will write it 10 here, then this answer will come. So this is the job of extract. Will extract the particular result where the condition match on array. Right. Again, one more example I have given. See, values are some different. I have given array comma 5. Extract condition plus array wherever true is coming. Okay, and we are getting our result. Here it is coming mode. We are getting true here. Okay, then again we are getting true here 6, right? Remainder will be 1. Clear? Condition will be match. Again 11 will get, remainder will be 1. Again here we'll get it, remainder will be 1 and remainder will be 1. So this is the job of extract. Whatever condition applied on array, whatever calculation, mathematical operation applied on array, if you want to extract that result only, you can use np.extract with the particular condition on array. Another example, greater than 10 I am asking. So you can see up to where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 it is coming, but I have given a add. Is it clear? So if I add 6 plus 5, it will become 11. So I'll get true. Remaining value I will get true. So this is the answer. 6 is greater than 10 if you add 5. Okay, and remaining value will be greater. There is no issue. Same function I have applied here. Another operation, square root. Okay, you can find out the square root of the particular array elements, and you can use floor operator to find out the floor value of the array. Is it clear? Already we learned this plus 2 possible mathematical operators are possible. Okay, array 1 and array 2 also can be joined together, add together. 0, 0 will be like that. 1, 1 will be 2, 2, 2 will be 4, and it is possible. Right. Now we will have a session on application of NumPy array. This is the last session. Application of NumPy array. There are three most important applications are there. One is called as a covariance. Another one is called as a correlation and linear regression. These things are there in your syllabus. All the above applications are used for statistics, which is a branch of mathematics where we deal with studying data. Please remember, statistics is a branch of mathematics where we are dealing with studying data. Right? Let's start the covariance. What is covariance? Covariance will find the data, whether the data is related or not related. Related or not related in the sense of it will compare the two data set and tell how they are similar or different. If they are similar, if they are highly similar or highly dissimilar, so we can understand with the help of covariance. A high positive covariance between data set tell they are strongly similar.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Anji sir. Anji sir. Complete sir. Complete sir.
No, is there any issue?
No issue sir.
It is online now.
Yeah, we are online.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I have not completed. Okay. Now you see, with the help of covariance, you can find high positive covariance between data set, which tell you they are strongly similar, and high negative covariance that will tell you that they are very dissimilar. I will tell you manually because in exam computer will be not there how to calculate the covariance manually. That I am having a small image I am having that I will show you, which I prepared. One more thing we have to remember regarding covariance, the shape of data set should be same. Shape of the data set should be same. If there is a 6 number of element, there must be a 6 number of element. There is a 4 number of row, there may be a 4 number of row. Element, the shape must be the same. So this thing we have to remember. Taking the same example, what is this? This is a list, right? You have to create an array of this list and we have to see how the covariance get calculated. So next slide will explain you. Right. Number of row 1. Okay. Number of row 1. Okay. So totally 2 elements are there. Now you see covariance. In a below program, we will calculate covariance of A and B. So output matrix will have 4 value because 2 multiplied by 2 number of element minus n number of array. So these things we have to remember always. Okay, in this example 1, 2 and 3, that's why the result will come a matrix of 3 by 3. Now definitely you will ask how this matrix will come, sir, because computer will calculate it. If you type this entire program, what will happen? You will get your result, but you will not understand how the result is exactly coming, how the covariance got calculated. It is little bit mathematical calculation, but I will make it easy for you so you can understand. So you can see I have created an array. Visible to everybody. And again, C is equal to np.covariance. In Python program, if there is an exam question will be there, you have to use COV to calculate the covariance of A and B. When the moment you will print C, you will get this covariance. One more thing you have to remember in this output, what is covariance? This value is called as a covariance 4.25 and 4.25. Then what is this? This is called as a variance, or you can say this is called as a covariance of only this value A. Is it clear? And 8.7 is the covariance of only the value of B. But 4.25 is the covariance of A and B, both value. This thing you have to remember. In this example also, we are having number of rows. So multiply by number of rows, 3 multiplied by 3. Now we are finding the covariance. You can see the matrix generated. This is first row, this one, variance. Okay, this is the variance of second one. Okay, and this is the covariance of all these three. Again, this is for the next one, this one. Okay, and this is for this one, and 1.25 will be for third value. Is it clear? And again, starting -1, the same thing will be repeating. You can see -1, the last value and this value will match. Okay, all the value ka covariance will be there, and 1.25 will come and 11.5 will be the variance of row number second, row number third. Clear? Now let us see practically. Yeah, let us see. These are the data which we are having. A and B, some values are there, right? Output matrix will be have 2 multiplied by 2 because there are two array. Two array are there. So matrix will be 2 multiplied by 2. If there are 3 arrays are there, 3 number of rows are there, then it will be 3 multiplied by 3. Now first we have to find the variance. This is the mathematical formula for calculating variance. It's very simple. Nothing is there. Variance is equal to X. What is X? A ka value. First value of A. Minus X bar. What is X bar? This is the mean. How to calculate the mean? 5 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 is equal to whatever value will come divided by number of element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I think 20 will come. 5 plus 6 is equal to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 4, 20 will come. 20 divided by 5. Okay, 4 will come. So first value, what is first value? 5. So we'll write it 5 minus 4, bracket close, square, plus 6 minus 4, bracket close, square. Like that we will do it to find out the variance. First value, to find out first value, we have to do this type of calculation. Okay. Then we have to calculate the variance. When the covariance, when the time of you are going to calculate covariance, we have to take element 1 and element 2. Sorry, array 1 and array 2, both we have to take. In this, you can see X value, X bar, mean, Y value, Y bar. Then we have to multiply. Here we have to not multiply. We have to add. Okay, we have to find out the square and we have to add it with the next value. Here we have to not find any square. We have to simply multiply. This may be a negative. This may be a positive. Any kind of value will come. There is no issue. Okay, when the moment you will use this one, this will be generate this type of matrix. See, variance, variance, then covariance, covariance. These types of matrix will be get generated. You will get your output 2.5, 4.25, like this type of output you will get. Again, I will tell you clearly, these all value will get add together. Then they will be divided by number of element. How many number of elements are there? 5. Then this will be a mean. X bar will come. Okay, for Y also the Y bar will come. You have to do the same thing. Then you have to multiply like that and you have to put n minus 1 for variance. When you are going to calculate variance, you have to write divided by 5 minus 1. Number of elements are 5. So we'll write 5 minus 1. You will get it result 2.5. Okay, 4.25. When you will do covariance calculation, you will get it 4.25. This is called as a covariance, and these are the called as a variance. So this is clear to everybody. If you have any doubt, please you can send message or any comment and query you can send. If you want step-by-step explanation also, I can do it. There is no issue because it's very simple. You have to take a value, you have to simply add it, and you have to divide by number of element, and according to the formula you have to go x minus x bar square, like that you have to do it. Each and every value will come, variance will come, second value covariance will come, again variance will come for second value, and variance will come for covariance will come for all the value. Now this is clear to everybody, right? Now we will have a correlation. This is called as a Pearson correlation coefficient, and also called as a Pearson R. When we need to know only whether two data sets are similar and different. Okay, here we are checking whether how much they are similar and how much they are dissimilar. Okay, more similarity, more dissimilarity we are checking. Here we are simply checking that whether they are similar or different. Shape of data set array should be same. If we want to know how they are similar or how they are different, we have to find out the covariance. Now see the correlation. The same thing will be there. We have to apply CORRCOEF to find out the correlation. Okay, similarity, you can see whether they are similar and dissimilar. The negative value will come, they are dissimilar. Now this is the last topic, correlation. This is a similar concept like a covariance. It is used to find two set of data similar or different, not how similar or how different. If the result will come one, positive, similar will be there. If they are not similar, -1 will come. To calculate this, we have to use this function CORCOCF function. With the help of this function, we can find out the correlation. So this is an example. You can see I have calculated positive covariance. It show 1 as a result. So they are similar. Negative will come, right? They are dissimilar. So these things are there. The last topic is linear regression. The covariance and correlation will compare two data set, but the linear regression will find two data set where one depend on other or not. For that, we will use polyfit function in your syllabus. Only this is there that polyfit function can be used for linear regression. The deep discussion will be not there as per your syllabus. So we will complete it here itself. I hope this session is very fruitful for you.